funny that it's Essendon player testing positive or something, isn't it?
Pull your finger out of your ass.
Jeez.
This is my first ever football jumper. My 3 votes, I should say. My 3 goats. My 3 votes for Charlie. Oh, top of the world, mate.
What a time to be alive.
I look a bit like Nickel Bellic from GTA 4, I feel, with this.
That could get dangerous. Alrighty, we are back. Season 2 of the Pressure Point podcast is back. It's been a big break. It's been good to refresh, but it's even better to be back and back with my great man here, Quinn DeLuca. How you going, mate?
Stop it, mate. Stop it. I'm good. I didn't think we'd make it to season 2. I'm stoked to be back. It's brilliant. We've done everything that we could to avoid each other. We haven't seen each other in. It's probably only been about a week, let's be honest.
Best few months of my life.
Yeah, best couple of months.
This with you.
It's been good. It's been a nice little break. Doing our own thing. We're both starting to branch off now and our own in-personal lives. So it's been good. Been a good couple of months. But very happy to be back.
Yeah. Well, give us a rundown on your summer. What's been happening? What's some of the highlights that's happened in your life?
Well, I mean, obviously the break was good. I didn't work much last year, to be fair. So the break probably wasn't needed. But It's always nice. The weather could have been nicer. But, what are you going to do? Do get a new job, so started working now for a company called GameFace. So we do digital and social media for local sports. So that's been really good. Good little dip into the industry for me. I've been really enjoying that. So that's been going quite well. That's pretty much it. Now just sort of keen to get back and going. I've been doing my YouTube channel still for my Richmond stuff, Tiger Den TV, get on that. And great plug, had to do that. Yep. And that's about it really. So how about yourself? Cool. What have you been up to?
Yeah, mate, much the same. Just trying to dip my feet into the sport media world. It's been good. Doing some work for the Coburg Footy Club in the VFL, which has been great. So just managing their media department. So pretty lucky to be in that. So I've been doing that and just been pretty much every single day just been waiting for this moment just to arrive.
Just itching.
Planning every day for episode 42 of the Pressure Point podcast season 2.
Mate, itching to be back. Before we get into it, why don't you tell everybody how much did you have to lie on your resume to get that gig at Coburg?
No lying at all.
Just twisted the truth?
Didn't even need to give my resume.
Oh, here we go.
There was a phone call that I had with the GM at the club. It was on my birthday, so it was a nice little birthday present to get that. So
how nice is
going back, November now, so it was a while ago. But it's been great. It's been great. So learning a lot, and it's only going to hold us in good stead for stuff like this as well. And hopefully this season's bigger than season 1.
I'm sure it will be. It definitely will be. And speaking of being bigger than season 1, to start off with, we have a couple of sponsors join the show, which very privileged to have. So I'll let you start off with our first one. Yeah,
so we've got RetroJet Prints that have jumped on board over the last few weeks. That's headed up by Enzo Aliotta, a good friend of ours. So he does all digital prints, photography, graphic design, and a lot of corporate stuff as well. So if you need some good photos taken, some logos made up, he's your man. So get in touch with him. His details are on the post that we did a few weeks ago now, but I think we can put it in the show notes, won't we? You can put some details in there.
Yeah, we'll put them in the caption on the YouTube videos and all the rest of it. Yep. So that'll be there. And if you want to see some of Enzo's work, we did post, if you remember those lovely mug shots we had done of us, gone back a little while.
Your Zoolander shot.
My Zoolander shot, the pout and all those. So those were done by Enz back then. So that obviously some really great work there. And then the next sponsor to jump on board was at last minute, just got in time for the first episode, Millie and Marr. And Millie and Marr is run by Angela Materia and Nadine Marr, and they make gift boxes, all Australian made, which at this time it's a bit, support local business, especially with everything we've gone through. And I've got a gift box here. So, just so you can have a look. This is what one of the men's ones will come with. Well, men or women's, no judging here, but Millie and Marr. And this one's just come with a few beers in here. Almost knocked the sign off the wall. This one's come with a few beers. Got a little note here which runs you through the business and where they've gotten the beers from. And these are from the Bad Shepherd Brewing Company on Reserve Road, who we're not sponsored by, but if you want to sponsor us, we're here. So that's from them.
Doing a lot of plugs tonight, aren't we?
Doing a lot of plugs tonight. Just trying to grow this podcast, mate, any way possible.
But that's, for everyone watching on the YouTube channel, Quinn just did a display then. So if you want to see it, jump on the YouTube channel for that.
Exactly right. And the links will be left down below. But they do gift boxes. I mean, Mother's Day is coming up. Perfect time for a gift box. From food, drinks, you name it. They've got everything. Body soaps, washes, all the rest of it. Marcus and I don't keep our skin so perfect without these products. So jump on board. Yeah. Really big thanks to Millie and Marr for getting on board as well.
Is Mother's Day coming up?
Oh, it's not far.
Another 2-3 months.
Mate, we're trying to plug the product. What are you doing?
All right, well, let's talk some footy. That's what we're here for. Let's talk about the big topics that have happened over summer. What's been happening lately? All the pracky games are up and running. AFLW has been happening as well. What are your thoughts on the AFLW? I think, personally for me, it's been a massive improvement from previous years.
Well, I'm loving it because Richmond finally got our first win in the AFLW and it was an onslaught. So it's absolutely beautiful. But I have to agree. The standard has lifted so much. And I think that's partly because they've had more, another pre-season, more training, etc. But you're starting to see now this influx of younger girls that haven't had to have that break. A lot of the older girls that are playing, or the older women, I should say, that are playing, played probably till they were 15, 16 and had to give it up because there was no higher level for them. Whereas now, the younger women that are coming through have played all the way through, their juniors all the way through to now, and you can see the skill development through that. So I'm really loving the look of it at the moment, really enjoying the way the girls are all playing, and we're seeing some pretty impressive talent out there. Yeah,
no, it's been really good. I've been loving this. Probably the season I've been watching the most out of all of them so far. So yeah, I've been really enjoying it. It's just a shame that the season is so short because you lose a couple of games, it's almost season over, isn't it? Like you can't afford to lose.
No, exactly right. That's the thing. I mean, you start off with Richmond started off. I think we lost the first 3 or 4 games, and now we're playing really good at the moment, but it's probably not enough.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's disappointing, and also I guess the COVID fixtures being a bit difficult for fans. I've been really trying to get to a game. And doing it week by week, it's hard to schedule what you've got on, with work and everything else wrapped around it. It's hard to get to games. So hopefully next year there won't be a COVID fixture and you can plan in advance when you're going to get there. But I definitely bought my membership this year and I'm really loving watching the girls play.
Yeah, no, it's been great. Here's your tip for the flag. No.
Oh.
Just still Richmond.
Yeah, still Richmond. It's in the winning. We've got the winning spirit running through us. I mean, it's hard to go past Collingwood. They haven't lost a game yet.
Yeah, yeah.
And the way Malloy's playing down there, I don't know if you've been watching her, but she's been kicking bags.
Yeah.
So, I think Collingwood for me.
They're impressive, aren't they? North Melbourne are pretty good too.
North are up there. North would be my second best. Carlton were originally, but
dropped a couple of
Dropped a little bit.
Games.
A little bit. I thought Richmond almost had you there a couple of weeks ago. Almost had you. But no, Carlton will still contend heavily. But I think, it'll be for me, it's either Collingwood or North.
Yeah. Yeah. I think North. I watched them last weekend. They were pretty impressive. So I think they'll get the job done over it. They beat a pretty good Carlton team. So.
Well, what they're dishing up is much better than what their men's side's dishing up at the moment, isn't it? Which we will touch on.
We will get to them.
We're
saving a fair space for the North Melbourne performance last week.
Let's get into it.
So probably the biggest talking point over the last few weeks has been the new 50-metre rule. Stand the mark. You can't move laterally from the man on the mark. I'm just telling from your facial expression and the things that you've been sharing on social media. You're not happy with it.
Not at all. Why? We keep touching this game, this perfect, precious game that, we're obsessed with and we love it for a reason. Don't change it. It's fine the way it is. Tell me last year how confusing the protected areas, the rule was. No one knew what was going on half the time. And now you're going to say, the guy, what if you lose your footing and you stumble half an inch to the left? That's a 50-metre penalty. Yeah. Come on, get off it.
It's ridiculous.
Look, I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to speed the play up, stop that lateral movement so you can kick the ball inboard and get the ball moving, which I understand that. But I think this is the wrong way to go about it. And I'm just not a big fan. And I did write an article on that in QM Sports Media. If you guys want to jump on that, it's Marcus and I's website. So jump on and have a read. But I'm not a big fan. What do you think anyway?
So 5 plugs tonight.
5 plugs tonight. There's more, mate. There's more in the bank. Don't worry. There's more in the bank.
To be honest, initially I was like, this is an absolute joke. Like, it's going to ruin the game. But the instructions are pretty clear. Just don't move. Just stay still. Like, you can look at it like that. Like, the instructions just don't move. If you're on the mark, stay still. Like, if you look at it like that, it's like, okay, that makes sense. That's not too hard to follow. But yes, I know. The one that we saw in that Freo West Coast game, like, ridiculous.
He turned backwards.
Yeah, ridiculous.
How is he stopping the play?
There needs to be some common sense with it.
That's the thing. I think there does need to be common sense, but then you can also play the argument that once you start saying common sense comes into it, then it all becomes subjective if it's a free. You know what I mean? We want our rules to be just black and white, which, I mean, they're not, because that's just the way our game is. And I guess this is probably the closest one we've actually got to being black and white, because it's as simple as you said, just don't move. But... yeah, then it comes down to, come on, that's a bit stiff. That's a bit, it could. Yeah. I don't know. I think we could have just left it. I thought the game was fine. It
Probably
didn't need to be
it.
introduced. I mean, I don't know. I think Steve Hawking might secretly work for the NRL or something. Just trying to, I can't even speak. But he's
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I'm not happy with it, but it is what it is. We'll just see how it's adapted. There's been some shocking examples so far in the practice matches. I just heard Gil McLaughlin on the news before say they are thinking of tweaking little things about it.
Yeah.
Trying to maybe make it a little bit more reasonable. So we'll see. I mean, there's still a couple of weeks to go. A few more preseason games.
Yeah.
It might improve, and then we might have a different opinion in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think umpires just need to use their common sense with it, and don't pay it for that one that we saw in the Freo game. Like if they're paying for that, ridiculous. But just stay still.
Well, the worst part about that one was that the AFL came out and backed them up and said no, that was the right call.
Yeah, but they're gonna do that.
Yeah, they're gonna do that because it's a new rule.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying. So then it sort of paints it sets the scene for the umpires for the rest of the year now. That if he sneezes, we're blowing the whistle.
Did you see that video?
Yeah,
there was a very good video. All right, we'll keep moving with the practice games. A couple of players that have been flying. Joe Danaher,
huge.
For me, I feel like he's going to win the Coleman medal this year. He just looks like he's got a new lease on life up in Brisbane, and the change has done him wonders. And he was clearly hating Essendon that much that all of a sudden he's got no injuries and he's loving life.
Funny how that happens, isn't it? Funny he's not sitting on the side on the side of the fence during a game. But he's looking superb. He's looking fantastic, and it's a lot easier to watch when he's not wearing black and red. But I think you're right. You're not far off. He's definitely looking like a favourite for the Coleman early.
Yeah, definitely my tip. I reckon if Brisbane they definitely could win the flag this year as well. Danaher could be that missing link that could take them that step further than they went last year. So you never know. Everyone forgets how good Joe Danaher was at full flight before all the injuries. So it'd be good to see.
It would be. I mean,
and it'd be good to see the Essendon supporters.
That's the best part.
Well.
That's the best part. We love that. We love nothing more than that.
Speaking of Essendon, well, ex-Essendon stuff. Adam Sard tearing it up.
I think you've just thrown this one in here to plug Carlton, but I don't think this is even a dig at Essendon. But
no.
Nah, he is.
Well, there's an Essendon link there.
There is an Essendon link there, and I mean, I think that footage went around of Sard hitting up Paddy Cripps leading in the forward line, and
it was very good.
It was good to see Cripps kicking straight and actually slotted the goal.
Yeah.
And maybe because practice match and there's no pressure at this point, but it was Cripps has definitely lifted his game. But awesome to see Sard and same as Williams. I think
he was very good too.
I think that same as Danaher, they both found new clubs.
Yeah.
And it's just it's doing wonders for them. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is still just the practice games, and you can't read too much into them, but early signs are like Carlton had a pretty strong team out there against Essendon, and they looked really good. Zach Williams in his midfield role was very good. So being a Carlton supporter, we're very shielded, and we don't like to get too excited over practice games because it's hurt us in the past. But I mean, there's no excuses left this season. So they have to be good. Minimum 8th.
You guys have to play finals this year.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. You have to play finals with these inclusions. It's now or never. So
exactly right.
Have to make the 8. But I will touch on one other thing, Essendon, which we haven't actually put in the run sheet. I've just thought of it. It's come on my mind. And another jab at Essendon supporters. Did you hear that the Essendon Football Club was trying to move their mess with the fixtures already for round 1 and move their game from Marvel to the MCG because they wanted more members to get in?
I did see that. They wanted Melbourne to swap with them.
Was it Melbourne they wanted to swap?
Yeah, so Melbourne are playing Freo during the day at the MCG.
Yeah.
Then Essendon play Hawthorn later on Saturday night
at Marvel.
And they wanted to swap. Like, one, it's Melbourne's home ground, like the MCC.
Yeah.
And, there's going to be a lot of fans at the Melbourne Freo game. Like, it's going to be 50% because they haven't been to the footy in a year.
No, everyone's going to be there.
Like, the stadiums will be as packed as they can be.
Yeah, 100%. And not only that, who wants to watch Essendon play football?
There it is.
Who wants to go there? I had to throw it in.
There it is.
I had to throw it in. But come on. Like the fixturing hasn't been hard enough. You're going to throw a spanner in the works and try move things around. We get it. You want your members to go to the games. So does every club.
Yeah.
You're going to get your turn at the G. Just like, Richmond's going to get their turn at Marvel. Yeah. And, it's like everyone's going to get their turn somewhere.
In saying that, but in previous years, Essendon and Hawthorn probably would have played each other at the MCG. But they're both tipped to be bottom 4 this season. So is it really a draw card?
No, it's not a draw card.
Yeah.
Nor is Melbourne Freo.
No, but the MCG is Melbourne's
Melbourne's
home
home
ground.
game. Yes, that's exactly right. So you look at it that way. Melbourne's not going to play their home game at Marvel, so Essendon can have more fans.
Melbourne never play home games at Marvel.
No, never.
Yeah.
They're not like Richmond. They don't have to play games there. So, no, but it's ridiculous, and I'm glad the AFL sort of put a line through that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we did touch on it very briefly before, but North Melbourne in the men's. I mean, can you really lose a practice game by 100 points?
I mean, I know we said you can't look into practice games too much,
but this is
this is
alarming.
This is ridiculous. I mean, I know the Saints are all right at the moment, but jeez.
To rub salt into it, Mason Wood, who they delisted, played for St Kilda that day and kicked 4. Like, what's going on? They're a shambles.
Basket case.
Yeah.
Look, I get what they were going for with the whole rebuild and start from scratch, but Mason Wood's not exactly an old guy.
No.
Like, keep the younger talent.
Yeah.
You push out the older guys in your rebuilding, you keep younger but like already pretty much developed players. You keep those sort of blokes there.
Yeah.
But, they got rid of him and it showed that it hurt, And I don't see any direction with North at the moment. I understand that they're going through a rebuild, and I guess if you consider that a direction, I mean, that would be it. But I don't see... There's no silver lining that I can see.
I think it's going to take a long time for them. Like, it's going to be a slow burn. I think they've got a good coach, David Noble.
I think so as well. I agree with that.
I think he'll be good. But, yeah, their list just needs some serious overhaul, which they have already done. Like, they cut a lot of players in the off-season, but they just need to get as much talent in there as possible to be competing again.
Yeah, and that'll take a couple of years. And I think the club just really needs to stand by Noble.
Yeah.
People are quick to jump on coaches when they don't turn a club around in a season.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen like that. It takes time. You look at other coaches, and some of them, it took them years before they did anything successful.
Yeah.
Dimmer Hardwick was there 10 years before anything happened to Richmond. So, I mean, you got to stick with coaches and give them a chance to develop the list and develop the players and, and go from there. So, I think North are going to, like you said, a long way off.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, just rebuild mode. I think that supporters can't expect too much. Which is fine. Which they saw last season. They were pretty poor last year as well. So, all right. Well, probably the biggest talking point over the summer, the biggest top of Collingwood, just in general, were all over the news from the trade period up until the other week.
Honestly, I've forgotten about what happened in the trade period because of everything just recently. But when you think, it scales way back to then. That's how long.
You got your trade period stuff. They've had a few injuries, and then the Eddie Maguire. It started with the racist thing with Lumumba.
Yeah.
And now Eddie Maguire's been, he's left, but did he get the can? Who knows? But,
you don't know how it worked out. And I don't know if you heard, Andrew Cracker came out with some accusations today.
Did he?
I saw the article. I didn't actually click on it though. So I'm not going to say what was said because I'm not sure. But there was something else said about Andrew Cracker where apparently he had to stand up to some racial slurs or something that happened when he was at Collingwood. So absolute worst time to be a Collingwood supporter right now. And then not that this is news. This shouldn't even be said. But it wasn't a news, which isn't great for Collingwood supporters as well. But the whole Nathan Buckley with his wife splitting. I mean, that's not news. I mean, keep that out.
That's personal life.
That's personal life. Keep that out. You know what I mean? So that's not me having a go at Collingwood there. That's just me saying that shouldn't be in the news, that sort of stuff. It's personal. There's no need for anybody else to know what's going on. But Collingwood are in a bit of a rut at the moment, and especially, the way they finished the season probably wasn't ideal. I mean, all the injuries didn't help as well, but...
Yeah, they're a bit of an unknown. Like, they've still got some good players on their team, but you just don't know whether, what's happened over summer is just going to affect them too much, whether they really slide or whether they just, hang around the mark like they did last season. I think they just snuck into the 8 last year, didn't they?
They just snuck in and they had that really good win in West Coast.
West Coast,
yeah. So, look, I mean, Collingwood are a good team. They've got the players that they've got, like Pendlebury and all that that'll carry them over the line when they really need to. But it'll be interesting, like you said, just to see if, this off-field stuff has affected them in any way. What are you predicting from the Pies? Do you think... Because you could look at it from the point that they've got something to prove now and they'll come out red hot. Or, it could go the other way where it's really affected them and they're not there mentally and they're a shambles. What are you thinking we'll see from Collingwood?
Just from Collingwood supporters that I know that are close to me, they're glass half full with it. They're saying, they lost Treloar. Didn't use the ball that well. Tom Phillips, bit part player, pretty good player, but not catastrophic. And then
Stevenson,
who's Yeah, who's the big one because he's got a lot of potential and he's still young. So that's the big one, and just the way they sort of let him go. But they're like, they replace those players with some really elite talent, and they've got some good young players coming through like Dacos who can really lead them forward. So a lot of them are glass half full. I know one Collingwood supporter in particular, and he will be listening, Suits, who I love, but geez, he's been very aggressive over the Pies over the off season, and he doesn't see it that way. But there's some Collingwood supporters out there that are seeing a positive light to it. So
I was about to say, the ones I've spoken to especially have said the same thing as you. They're actually quite optimistic about.
Yeah.
They said, look, it doesn't look good, but and then they'd point out because of this, and this, it actually isn't that bad.
Yeah.
So I mean, look, I think, like I said, I think we can probably safely say it could go either way. I don't think
they're a bit of an unknown.
They're an unknown. There's no clear line for Collingwood and how they're going to play this year, but time will tell, as they say.
Absolutely. And exciting news. Fans are back as well.
Massive.
I mean, we only got told that last week. 50% tickets still haven't gone on sale, by the way, for round one.
I know. I'm devastated about that. But speaking of round one, you've committed the cardinal sin of booking a holiday for round one. What's the go there, mate? A bit scared.
No. That's
Can't handle the heat in the kitchen.
So we caught up with our great mate from Blue Abroad, Terry, a few weeks ago. Shout out Blue Abroad.
Is that Six Plugs?
It's Six Plugs.
That's Six Plugs.
Shit. And he mentioned to us that Carlton supporters are only getting 2,000 tickets allocated to them. There's 70,000 of us that are signed up members. So it's not worth the risk. So me and the lovely girlfriend, Kristen, have booked a holiday during that time.
Does that count as a plug?
Yep, make that 7, 6, 8, whatever we're at now.
Counts as a plug.
Yeah, it does.
No, so what you said there essentially was you're scared to lose and be with me at the game. That's fair. We can look past
so
that.
I can easily hide.
You can easily. Were you going Queensland?
Yeah,
Cairns, wasn't
Cairns,
it?
Yeah, Cairns.
Going to Gilligan's.
I'll probably watch the game there, maybe.
Mate, I'm telling you, great spot. If you haven't been to Gilligan's, definitely head up there, and we can add that as our 8th or 9th plug for the night.
I've already looked at about 10 bars in the area to make sure that they're all showing the footy that night. So my bases are covered. But yeah, obviously footy's not that big up there. So I'm hoping there won't be any dickhead Richmond supporters around.
Well, mate, we're everywhere.
Yeah,
you can't hide.
True.
You can't hide.
Oh, now they're everywhere. They're on the bandwagon.
Mate, welcome. Everyone's welcome. There's another plug. From past experience, though, Gilligan's does play the football at the bar, so it's a safe bet for
probably
you.
drag the Dale there and watch it.
I'm sure she'll appreciate that.
I told her one condition. We watch it.
It's a Thursday night. What else are you going to be doing?
Exactly. Yeah.
So if not for footy, nothing else. But no, it is huge. It's exciting. Haven't seen footy. No one in Melbourne's seen footy. There was a post, I think, was it today or yesterday, that came up saying that the last game of footy to be played with a crowd in Melbourne was the bushfire relief camp.
Yeah, crazy, isn't it?
Massive.
Absolutely crazy. It's going to be weird seeing the MCG with people in it.
It's going to be it's going to be a bizarre thing. I've been to a couple of sporting events. I'm not sure if you have. I went to
cricket.
I went to a Big Bash game and I went to an A-League game, which was great. And just
go the A-League.
Go the A-League. Forza Melbourne victory. And just the way that the crowds are all laid out. The MCG was where I watched the Big Bash, and it was a lot more relaxed than how they were at the A-League. So it's going to be interesting to see how the AFL handle the restrictions and numbers. Yeah. At the A-League, you couldn't move from upstairs to downstairs. Like, you could only go in one gate and only go upstairs. Yeah. It wouldn't even give you the option to go. So I wonder how that'll pan out. I feel like the MCG might be a bit harder to monitor that just because it's so open.
Yeah.
But that'll be interesting to see. If you can get there, I highly recommend it. But not only is football back for crowds at the MCG and AFL, local footy's back, and that's massive for me. I mean, I was at a charity game up in Hillsville, believe it or not, on Saturday. Very good cause. And is that
another plug?
It is another plug. Well, I mean, it's already happened now. So I mean, I'm not. If I was planning it might be a plug, but we'll count it as a plug.
Yeah.
No, but I went up there and it was a local football charity match, men's, women's, and it was also a netball game that was played on the day, and it was just felt brilliant to be around as a fairly big crowd, COVID-friendly crowd, but pretty good size, and just watching local footy again was awesome. It makes you realise how much we've missed.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the local footy games this year are going to have a lot of people watching them, and everyone's just going to get around it and not take it for granted anymore, really, because you don't know when it could just get taken away from you. So
just like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll be making sure I'm going to attend as many games as I can this year. I know we've got Collingwood round 2, and I'll be first in line for tickets for that. So it's exciting. And yeah, hopefully that's it, and we don't have to go back into a hub situation and things like that we had last year.
Yeah, exactly right. The only benefit that we had with the lockdown last year was we could catch up and record these episodes during the day, whereas now it's later at night. I'm starting to get a bit sleepy.
Yeah.
You put me to sleep a little bit. It's getting like that.
I know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to test us, especially if they do the footy frenzy again. Especially if we're not in lockdown and we don't have that much time on our hands. So there's going to be footy left, right and centre.
We'll wait and see. But I mean, as you can hear, at night it does get to that point where people start taking the bins out, which I'm sure you can hear running in the background right now.
The Chens taking the
bins out. So the Chens is our mascot for the Pressure Point podcast, if you weren't aware.
Another plug for the Chens.
Plugging all night tonight. It's the first episode back. We're just trying to grow the podcast. So if you've got a plug you want us to mention next week, let us know in the comments and we'll get around it.
On that note, I reckon that'll do us for this episode.
Yeah, we're starting to lack content.
We're dragging on and just plugging everything now. But yeah, it's good to be back. That's the main thing. We're back in action. Season 2's here. AFL footy is back. Footy starts on officially starts on the 18th of March, which is great. I won't be here, as we said before, but it's going to be a great occasion. Richmond Carlton's always fantastic and my favourite game of the year personally, because it's the biggest game Carlton plays in over the last few years. So hopefully it's not our biggest game this year.
I was about to say, unfortunately, I do have a sneaky suspicion that it won't be the biggest game you're playing this year, but I also hope it is.
Yeah, well, I hope it's not. So, but yeah, that is us. But as we say, always make sure you leave us a review. And subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcast from. We appreciate all the support that comes through, and we can't thank you guys enough. It's meant the absolute world to us. All the feedback over summer's been great. Everyone's been counting down for this to return, so we thank all you loyal listeners. You've all brought us back for a season 2. Yeah. Didn't see it coming, but you brought us back, so thank you. Thank you for letting us get to this period where we are. Starting all over again, bigger and better than season 1. That's it. And and enjoy the first official practice games this weekend. They're all live and televised on Foxtel. So you can go to the games too. And you can go to them. I believe a couple of them already sold out. So it's crazy. It's crazy. So yeah, it's gonna be good. Carlton St Kilda Thursday night's the first official one. So enjoy that, and we'll chat next week. Sounds good.